What is the number one mistake that GCSE students make? The reason why most people don't get the grades that they want at GCSE can be down to a lot of different factors. Some people revise in the wrong ways. Some people underestimate the work needed to do well in their GCSEs. And some people just don't care. That being said, anyone, no matter how dumb or smart they think they are, can get all 7s minimum at GCSE. Most people that are watching this video can probably get all 8s or even 9s at GCSE. So what is the biggest mistake people make? The biggest mistake, in my opinion, is approaching all of the subjects in the same exact way. Every subject you do is going to be a blend of problem-solving skills, memorization, essay writing, and so on. What people tend to do is that they learn one studying technique, which probably isn't even that effective, and then they implement it to every single subject they take. For example, they learn a studying technique that could work for science. Let's say making flashcards and then doing some exam questions after. But then when it comes to studying math, they do the same exact studying technique. While that same technique would work, it would be a waste of time because you don't need to make flashcards or notes for math. You just need to do a lot of practice. Imagine how inefficient that would be. Think of how much time you'd waste doing the wrong studying techniques because you didn't actually look at the subject that you're studying for and know how you should study for it. Everything changed for me when I sat down, looked at all of the subjects that I took, and analyzed them. I asked myself, what is the nature of this subject? And then I made a specialized studying technique that is perfect for that subject. For example, before my business mock, I didn't practice a single practice question because I knew that business is all about memorizing the key facts, the pros and the cons and all that stuff, and then knowing how to implement those facts in 6 markers and 9 markers and so on. And guess what? I got the highest mark in my whole cohort. Just as a very brief rule of thumb, for subjects that are considered science, like the 3 sciences and maybe, I don't know, computer science, that type of stuff, you need to be making notes, flashcards, and then doing a lot of exam questions, a lot of practice questions. For subjects that are more essay-based, in my opinion, you don't really need to practice questions that much. You just need to know how you're going to structure your answers. Because going back to business, for example, it's an essay subject. Most of the marks came from 9 markers, 12 markers, and 6 markers. So all I did was just learn how to structure my answers, how to implement the key facts that I memorized, and that was enough. I didn't have to practice that much. Everyone is different, obviously. Some people are really good at problem solving, while some people are insane at memorization. In fact, I actually knew a guy that before a test would just look at his textbook for like 5 minutes. He'd be like, okay, done. Go to the test, get the highest mark in the class, and leave. He didn't have to put in more than 10 minutes studying for any test. Which means that you can't really copy someone's studying technique to the letter. Of course, you two are different, so their studying technique might be perfect for them, but for you, it doesn't really work that well. But if you're stuck and you don't really know how to study for a certain subject, there's no harm in taking from the people that do know how to study for that subject. There's endless videos on YouTube of people talking about how they got 9s and A-stars in literally every subject you can think of. I myself have already made videos on all the subjects I got 9s in, so if you want some inspiration, you could watch those. Now that you have your studying technique, how do you know it really works? That is where unit tests come in. I took unit tests very seriously. They were the perfect chance for me to test myself. I didn't have to worry about making major mistakes in the actual exam. A lot of people delude themselves into thinking that their studying technique is really good. But when they do a unit test, they realize that that wasn't necessarily the case and that they have some refinements that they need to make. The result of the unit test doesn't really matter that much. So take advantage of them as much as possible to perfect your technique. Make as many mistakes as possible in the unit tests. So when you go into your actual exams, you're set because you've already done all of them in the unit tests. Maybe you do a test and realize that you can't really recall information that well. So you go back to your studying technique and add more spaced repetition and active recall. You get the idea. You make refinements when you see that there's something lacking in your studying techniques. Your GCSE grade is a journey. Don't go to the exam with only a couple of weeks revision and expect to get all 9s. At first, you're going to struggle, but then you're going to adapt. You're going to refine your studying technique. You're going to learn how to memorize and answer questions properly. Getting all 8s and 9s in your GCSEs starts from year 10, so start as soon as possible.